Hello, lore nerds. Today, we're continuing with the spooky theme of this Halloween month by covering the goddess Lolth. She is also known as the Queen of Spiders and the Queen of the Demon Web Pits. She is the most powerful and influential deity to the Drow, being the leader of the Dark Seldarine pantheon, although within that pantheon she also has many enemies. So, who is she? Lolth was actually originally created for the Greyhawk setting by Gary Gygax, coming into the Forgotten Realms setting later on, and eventually becoming part of the D&D default pantheon. Lolth is both a demon lord and a lesser deity of the Drow and Spiders, and resides within the Endless Abyss. She is cold and cruel, which you will come to see in this video. She revels in manipulation, betrayal, and bloodshed. In my humble opinion, she is the worst and most evil of all deities in the Forgotten Realms. She thrives on torture, destruction, death, and misery, and holds a tyrannical rule over the Drow. She demands absolute faith and fealty from the Drow and severely punishes any who question her. She especially does this to male Drow who, in her society, are considered unclean and lesser. She also enjoys corrupting other elves and humans into her worship, possibly even more so than she does torture. Due to her fickle nature, blind obedience and worship often led to death. To survive, one must be ever watchful of her changing moods and act accordingly. She would often turn on her favorites without warning, usually resulting in their death. All in all, it is never good to be in the attention of Lolth. Her promotion of infighting within Drow society has led many to deem her insane, which is not entirely wrong. Her fall from grace shattered her mind, at least partially responsible for turning her into the monster she is now, but I'm getting ahead of myself. What fall from grace? Let's go back to the Dawn Age. Lolth was once the goddess Aroshni, a lesser deity of destiny and artisans. She was Corellin Larithian's consort and the main goddess of the Dark Elves. Together they had twins, Veyron and Elestre. However, she eventually became too ambitious. She plotted to overthrow Corellin, aiding various other deities like Grumpsh and Malar, although those attempts failed. She also later raised an army against the Seldarine, but it was poorly organized and her plans within that attack also failed. Eventually, she was banished and exiled, Corellin not having the heart to kill their former lover, and she took the name Lolth. She conquered the 66th layer of the Abyss, naming it the Demon Web Pits. This hellish landscape is an environment made of one singular, massive fractal spiderweb, filled with legions of her servants. Her place of residence is a massive, mobile iron spider-shaped stronghold. Fueled by hatred, she continued to plot to overthrow Corellin ever since. Later, in the era of upheaval, the Drow and the Underdark were living in near animalistic states. Many of the Drow deities had been weakened, and so Lolth seized this chance to become the main Drow goddess. During the time of troubles, Lolth killed the goddess in Zarina, gaining the portfolios of chaos and assassination, and also learning how the distribution of divine power worked under Lord Ao's new rules. So, with some history on her, what is her worship like? Her follower base was largely Drow, as you could expect, with a few other groups of Underdark residents sprinkled in. Lolth drove her worshippers to infighting under the pretense of culling the weak. Her clerics were almost entirely female, as in Drow society males are essentially just slaves. There were, of course, a few male clerics, but they were never granted the title of High Priest. Her clergy would sacrifice lives and treated her as offerings, especially on a monthly basis under the full moon. Failing to serve Lolth, which was easy to do due to her capricious nature, would result in either death or transformation into the half drow, half spider creatures known as driders. So there you go. As you can see, she is a truly awful deity, malevolent and cruel to a high degree. She is very much responsible for the evilness of Drow society and all its worst parts, a manipulative and maniacal goddess. I hope you enjoyed watching, and if you did, I'll see you next time for the true Halloween special.